like I said, when Sean Brooks mutes his mic, that's when I talk. If not, I'm out.
Sean, mute your mic, bro. Alright, first off, I want everybody to introduce themselves real quick. Ayebale, I know you've been on the show, but I still want you to reintroduce yourself still. So, what do you do?
Y'all should let me go first, because last time I tried to go, they kicked me off the camera.
Oh yeah. All right, go.
I'm like, God, go first.
All right, KJ, go first.
All right, my name is Kaitroy Hubbard Jr.
Mm-hmm.
All my friends call me KJ. So if you really know me, you call me KJ. But some people call me Kaitroy. You know, like Sean Brooks, he's on the call right now. He'll call me Kaitroy a lot. Ayebale, he'll call me Kaitroy. J.O.A.T never really calls me Kaitroy. J-Rob calls me KJ. But yeah, so right now I'm a physical education teacher at City Academy located in St. Louis. And I also work for Prep Red Zone. And we basically feature athletes, give them some exposure. And in my free time, I'm really just working out in the gym. I'm trying to get like Ayebale, Justin Willis, and Sean Brooks. And I do officiate basketball games as well, but right now with COVID, so none of that's really going on. So that's really my life, and I spend time with my girlfriend, Brittany, and my dog, Mello Dior. And yeah, that's about me.
That sounds like an expensive dog. She said Dior.
Yeah, Mello Dior, man.
Mello Dior.
Oh, that's nice. I ain't Mello Dior. Long smoke.
All right, Sean, you go ahead.
All right, well, I was people introduced by Troy and J-Rob, but I am Sean. I ain't doing too much these days, working, training at the gym, playing football on my spare time, and, just staying out the way. That's all I really do.
Are you still trying to play overseas?
Yes, that is the plan. Still play overseas once the country opens back up or COVID subsides. Whatever one comes first. Hopefully, COVID go away first, because this should give me anxiety. But
that is true.
besides that.
All right, J. Will.
Hi, my name is Justin Willis. Some of y'all call me J. Will.
J. Willie.
Right now, I'm currently coaching at Greenville University. I'll be coaching the Cornish this year. I also am training to go overseas. Right now,
All right.
But that's the plan. Yeah, so if we mute your mic where you gonna speak, man. You ruined J. Will introduction, bro. My name is Jay, and I am an admissions counselor for Greenville University. I'm also a pastor at St. Paul's Free Methodist Church. And that's pretty much all I got going on.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. We all know 2020 has been a pretty shambolic year thus far. Ever since from COVID to Juice WRLD and Kobe and now Chadwick Boseman, and now we're still battling with racial injustice. I want everybody to express their feelings towards what's going on in America right now, because we just lost another brother. Chadwick Boseman. We also heard about the shooting of Jacob Blake being shot 7 times in the back. So what's everybody's feelings towards that? Speaking mine.
I think I can speak for all of us when we say we just tired, fed up, and we all hurt. We're all experiencing the same emotion, this roller coaster emotion of trauma that we're constantly seeing every day.
Yeah, man. I talked to Sean yesterday, and we were just talking about when you continually see those things, even on video, it takes a toll on your mental health. Because when we say the statement Black Lives Matter, when I say that to somebody who means that all lives matter or whatever, that's the counter argument. I think they take it as a political statement, right? They're saying that like it's a political statement to say Black Lives Matter, but truthfully, I'm just saying that my life matters, and the thing that I'm trying to say is I could be next.
Right.
And if I'm next, or do not always find an excuse or a reason why. Like, yeah, that's my main thought, especially on police brutality and stuff like that. It's like we focus on police brutality. I feel like you're just so the lack of representation in higher paying jobs, all those types of things. Like there's so much more than what meets the eye. And then when you continually experience these things, there is a level of trauma that it does take a toll on your mind and on your well-being.
Exactly.
I'm gonna be Sean Brooks though. If I'm gonna further this Zoom call, he's gonna have to bring his mic down. So I'm gonna have to leave.
Yeah, somebody gotta mute their mic. There you go.
All right, there we go. Perfect. All right. So honestly, Sean Brooks and Ayebale, they hit it on the nose. Like honestly, I'm just tired of seeing. I mean, our people dying, getting shot. I mean, just being, punished by people who are supposed to protect us. Because honestly, like, if it's a situation going on nowadays, I'm not even gonna call the police.
For real.
And it's not all police officers. It's really not. It's not, because I've been pulled over a handful amount of times, and my interaction with cops has been great. The first cop that gave me a ticket actually was an African American cop, and that was the first African American interaction with a cop I had. So it's not like, it's not just all bad cops, but it's certain situations like we shouldn't. When a cop comes to interaction with an African American male, female, or anything, the first thing it shouldn't be their hand on their gun. They have a handful of other weapons that they can utilize first. So I mean, if I get pulled over tomorrow, next week, whenever, and nothing major happens.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna be a little afraid myself. I'm not gonna lie, because I'm like, man, I might not be able to make it back to my family.
Yeah, because
it's just real sad because it's younger people. No, go ahead.
I was letting you go ahead because I was saying that's like the same mindset I was thinking about. Like if I'm like getting pulled over with it, I'm gonna be paranoid too. And like our parents, they always told us to keep two hands on the wheel and just look straight forward and not to say anything unless spoken to. You feel me? But the thing is, like, when I got pulled over for the first time, I did that.
Exactly.
But then they were still questioning me, saying why I'm so fidgety or whatever. And then he just pulled me out the car. And then my first interaction, it was not nice at all. Like, I was, like, scared because he handcuffed me for no reason. And he thought I was, like, I had drugs in the car or whatever. But pretty much I was in the other side of town anyways.
That's crazy.
But I'm going to let you go ahead.
No, it's on J. Will.
Oh, it's on J. Will.
Right. So really, when I think the word cops, when you think of it, the abbreviation is citizen of protection, right?
Right.
So as cops, like, we as African American males should not be fearing cops. You know what I'm saying? Because in the day, they're protecting us. But there's a thing that goes on now where police brutality is going on. It's been going on for ages. And it's like, me as African American male, I was legit thinking about this the other day. Kate was talking about it. It's like, if I'm in trouble, like I'm kind of, at this point now, it's like, if I can't, since the fact I'm kind of scared of cops now, I'm not really scared of them, but it's just I fear what could happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like, if I can't reach out to them, who the hell am I going to reach out to?
For real.
Just because it's the way they can treat me. And it's like, and it's sad to see because we have a lot of black lives that are innocent black, like young lives that are like, they're losing because of cops in the hands of a cop because they're killing us.
For real.
And that's like the most like thing that's been heavy in my mind is just that whole situation, just young lives are being lost innocent because of cops.
For real. And then going back to what Ayebale said with the mental breakdown, like mental stabilization, like it's taking a toll on me for this past week for seeing like another person getting shot, and like I don't know, I just couldn't take it anymore. I didn't know whether to like either be mad or to just or cry out. You feel me? Cause I remember you told me that you burst into tears one time after the choking of George Floyd. And I was going to do the same thing in the car on the way back from work. Because after when Chadwick Boseman died, like everything. Well, I know he didn't get shot by a cops or anything, but it's like I don't know. 2020 has just been very depressing with everything that's going on. But you know,
Yeah.
it is what it is. So
Yeah.
I think for me the frustration like with all this police brutality, bro, it's like it's so deeply embedded in the country that when you start calling it out, like certain patriotic Americans are scared to go against that narrative, right? They don't want to be considered un-American. So when you're protesting racism or police brutality or whatever, it's like there's so much going on behind the scenes of like layers. It's like layers and layers and layers of how it exists. And when we start talking about systemic racism, it gets so abstract that it's almost like some of the stuff doesn't even sound legitimate. Like when you start talking about redlining districts, or you start looking at the school zoning and how property taxes paid, but like it's all set up deliberately to keep minorities under oppression. And so for me, like when I broke down crying after seeing the George Floyd video, I think for me it's just like I couldn't understand how another human being can hate another human being so much that you for 8 minutes can it's a conscious decision to put your knee on somebody's neck, and at that point you treating them worse than a dog.
Right.
Like it was. I mean, there's so many more people who would have been enraged if it was a dog that had you know what I mean. If it was a dog that had a knee on its neck for 8 minutes, there's so many more white people who care about that than a black man, and then they start pulling up all sorts of prior offenses and stuff like that, and it's like, yo, regardless of all that, this is another human being, and how can you hate somebody so much that does not bother you? You sitting here making excuses for why it happened, and it's like, how do you sleep at night, bro?
Like saying he was a sex offender or something like that. Like that doesn't justify about why you speak. Okay, did you just raise your hand? What is that? Oh.
Yeah, I just raised my hand. But that's what Mark was saying. Like that's what gets me about stories. The backstories, like stuff they did 17 years ago.
Yeah.
Like the man's dead, and they're always trying to find something to justify what happened in the situation. Like I don't care if this man, I don't care what he did. Like it just doesn't. That's crazy to me, man. It really is.
Yeah, it's at the end of the day, it's wrong.
Saying, like the reason why he died is because he already had problems with breathing, and I'm like, dude, even if
that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense.
Breathing in general, like someone's yelling, I can't breathe. Would it be common sense? Like, oh, let me get out this dude's, you know what I'm saying? Let me like let him breathe a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he's constantly breathing, constantly yelling, I can't breathe, then that should click in your head. Like, okay, I might be killing this dude. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Right.
And especially when Jacob Blake, they said that he was reaching for a knife. That's the reason why that they shot him 7 times in the back. But
you probably speak to this because you studied criminal justice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I said Sean probably has like an inside view on what this is. I just want to say my piece before tossing the blood to Sean. In my opinion, bro, listen, if you sign up to be a police officer, you're signing up for these risks, right? That's like going to the military and all of a sudden you like, why they shooting me, right? Or it's like me as a pastor going on Sunday and being like, what you mean I gotta preach? That's part of the job description. If you can't handle that, right? And I got a lot of respect for cops that do that on a daily basis and they handle that correctly, right? Just like KJ said, not all cops are bad. I got mad respect for those cops who do things the right way. But if you can't handle the idea that somebody can have a knife and you can de-escalate the situation without killing them, right? Because if you shoot someone once, that should be enough to hold a knife back.
Yeah.
It's not like dude was reaching for a grenade or he was about to detonate a bomb. It's a knife. So if you can't handle the pressure of seeing somebody with a knife, why do you even sign up for the job? You thought it was going to be sweet. You got to know when you sign up for the job, that is what they're asking you to do. Every day there's a risk you might not come home. And much respect to people who take that risk on and do their job right. But you can't be scared of a knife if you're a cop, bro. You in the wrong line. Go work at Subway.
Exactly.
Like, that's my opinion. I'll turn it over to Tom.
It's like So when cops are trained, or they're trained to de-escalate situations, it's 3 of y'all versus 1 person. There's no way you can justify shooting a man when I see other videos of people with weapons in their hands, and your first thing is to grab your face, or your first thing is to try to calmly talk them down. There's no way. What honestly I feel is that people want to be infamous. They want to be known for killing this black man, and it's because they get not work for the rest of their life for free. I mean, not work for the rest of their life and they get paid the whole time. If I get paid and not do nothing for the rest of my life, I gotta put my life in danger every day, or I gotta go to a job that I don't like.
Right.
Why not?
Right. Exactly. I never thought about it that way.
That's true. But with all the celebrity that's going on, like, how y'all feelings towards, like, Chadwick Boseman, everybody that's been dying, like Nipsey Hussle? Like, what are y'all thoughts about that? And Pop Smoke, and what's the dude name that played Pops in on Friday?
Yeah, we know what you're talking about. He's from Austin.
Yeah.
I think as men we need to take better care of ourselves. Like,
Yeah.
it's like we gotta stop putting our blood in the doctor's office. Like, that shit. It's not what's up.
Yeah.
You said we gotta stop doing what?
We better stop being afraid to go to the doctor's office.
Oh yeah, that's facts.
Just be like, oh, I just write it out. Nah, bro, go get checked. You know what I'm saying? If you feel like it was wrong, get a second opinion. We need to know. There's too many strong black men dying for no reason. Ain't nobody saying nothing about it.
Yeah.
Because we're misinformed.
Exactly.
That's very true. But I mean, just with all the deaths, man. Like, I mean, Jay Will, he been saying it a lot on the nose, and like I live by this literally. Like, you just gotta stay positive and live every day like it's your last, man, because you never know. Like, I love setting goals for the future. I love doing all that. But at the end of the day, you gotta relish the moment and live within the second, because you just never know.
Yes, ma'am.
True.
That's why, like, for me, like, while all this stuff is going on, it's been hitting me a little bit, just like from a mental standpoint, because, like, you guys are, like, young. I mean, granted, like, some of them are 40, some of them like in their 60s. Juice WRLD, he was like maybe like 20-something.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the fact, like, guys like that young are passing away just due to certain things. It's like, it gives me a whole perspective on, like, life. It's like, that's why it's like, Kaitroy was saying, like, life is too short. And it's like, at the beginning, you know, I used to take life for granted. You know, I used to wake up and, like, the same old stuff, different day.
Yeah.
But when, like, I think it really truly hit me after Nipsey Hussle passed away. Once the two passed away, that's when, like, life really started hitting me. And I really got to start living my life the way I want to live, because at the end of the day, like, you never know when it's your last time, when it's your last moment. So, like, that stuff really, like, hit home for me, and I took it to the heart.
Yeah.
And for me, this is right along my lines of work, especially, like, being in theology and being involved in the church and stuff like that, bro. I think so many young people, like, it almost seems like we're invincible. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we are untouchable. Like, we won't die. But, like, bro, even if you don't, let's say you don't take drugs and you have no fear of overdosing, or you don't, or you live a healthy lifestyle and you continue to get checked at the doctors, so there's no chance of you dying of colon cancer.
Right.
Just like Kobe, man, he hopped in a helicopter as he had done plenty of times before, and
he thought he was never gonna die.
So just
routine thing.
You hop in the car and have no idea that this is your last ride. And so one thing that I want to say to young people too is we got to stop putting off our spiritual disciplines or our spiritual formation and habit forming in our relationships with God, and think that, oh, I'll get right, you know, once I'm older, once I'm like 30 or 40 years old, that's when I'll start taking it serious.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, bro, I'll hop in the car, go pick my wife up from work. I got no idea that might be my last time turning that ignition. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
Right.
start investing in your relationship with God and making sure that you're right, and start looking at eternity and start taking it serious, bro. Because if we're here for, let's say, you get a good 80 years, bro, eternity is so much longer than that, and you don't want to be, you know what I mean? You don't want to be on the wrong side. I'll say that. You don't want to be on the side where you think you just carry yourself through life, and not just saying that, you know, it's like an insurance to not go to hell, but like, we need God, especially as as people of color. Sometimes God's the only hope that you can hold on to. Like
True.
this week, he really is what got me through the week because I'm sitting at my desk just like going through it, man. And it's
Yeah.
like I know God has a purpose for this pain, and so He's going to use that to build on to who I am and what I stand for. That's giving me strength. So I say we got to take our spirituality serious, even though we're young.
That is true, and our mental state too as well, because we don't know what people are going through.
Thanks.
For real, and like it's always good to check up on that.
People, bro.
Yeah, it's always good to check up on people, see how they're doing.
The happiest friends
For real, but I know the schools are reopening.
Yeah.
What are you saying, KJ?
I just say, yeah, man.
Oh yeah.
Jay, what was I saying? Go ahead. Bro.
Go ahead, Jay.
Honestly, touch on this because with me, mental health is a big thing for me, bro. And it's honestly, I didn't really pay attention to it much until Ayebale pointed out my senior year of college. Man, I just never really just focused on it. Like I was figuring, like while I was always down and stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought just certain reasons why. But now I realize I've really just been taking care of like what's up here in my mental health.
Right.
So I feel like that's definitely important. That a lot of kids need to like focus on more is that mental health, because a lot of kids want to search for that when they're down. They want to search for a temporary. Y'all hear me say this a lot. A temporary happiness, you know, a temporary satisfaction. But at the end of the day, it's like you could look for that all you want, but once it's gone, you're gonna keep searching. Compared to having your correct mental like mindset, things not gonna get bad until you actually just focus on what you need to focus on when it comes to mental health. Because in the day when you're down, you're still gonna see the light in a lot of positive things as well, because like you've been taking care of yourself.
Exactly.
And I say people gotta go get just like Sean had just said, physically, right? For us going to the doctor and stuff like that, making sure that we're good. It's the same way mentally, bro. Like I think a lot of people have this idea that to go and talk to a therapist is only when let's say you're going crazy or whatever. But it's honestly the way that I see it is like it's like having a car. You would much rather pay $30 at a time and make sure that you're getting your oil change rather than putting it off for such a long for such a long time, and then you get hit with $1,500 because your axle broke or whatever it is that could go wrong with the car. You want to make sure that everything's kind of like in tune little by little. And so we got to get rid of this stigma that if you go to a therapist, you're crazy or you got some mental problems. It's like, bro, especially as we had just all agreed, Black Americans go through a specific type of trauma that they can't control. Not saying that white people don't have trauma that they face, but I'm saying that we all kind of experience a different type of trauma that we need to let go of. So if you can get your hands on some good insurance and find a therapist to talk to, go ahead and do that rather than waiting until it ruins your life or you fall into depression or having these like weekly, daily panic attacks because you don't even know what's going on up here. So I say we gotta remove that stigma of like not going and getting professional help because it's there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
big fact.
like
Sure.
So I absolutely agree with that statement. Like, I mean, so many times we just try to hold everything in, bro. We got people around us that's willing to listen and dare to understand, and we still gonna reach out to them. Like for me, I would mask my depression, my anxiety, my problem, my trauma with women. You know what I'm saying? So that causes a lot of broken relationships. Like to the point where you can't find happiness because you always trying to figure out. You putting all the pressure on somebody else on them to make you happy, and as soon as they don't, then it's a spiral, and everything falls downhill. And then you have an argument, and then
Right.
one thing leads to another. You know what I'm saying? It becomes violent, or you become violent, they become violent. It's not even physically, but verbally. You know what I'm saying? Or mentally. So we as men really need to take heed. Like when we feeling something, or we feeling like a certain way, we need to express ourselves. Call each other, we can talk. Reach out for professional help. Like yesterday, I talked to Mark for about an hour. I'm sorry, for about an hour, and it was just me expressing myself. The day before that, I talked to KJ for about an hour, and I told him the same thing. It was just me expressing how I was feeling and what I was going through. And it was like, 9 times out of 10, bro, a lot of times, we as black men, no one teaches us how to deal with our trauma.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we so used to holding everything in, like, to the point where we eventually disrupt, or we hurt somebody else, we hurt people around us. And at school, it was so easy for us to handle it because we could just go in the hallway and talk to each other.
Right.
But many nights we could sit in the hallway and talk to each other. But many nights me and KJ would sit in the kitchen and talk to each other. You know what I'm saying? So right now, we're on your own. It's different because everybody's busy now.
Yeah, that's true.
So we ain't the relationship aspect of everything is different. You used to see somebody every day, and you know what I'm saying. Now you barely stay afloat, even though you may have everything else together. But if you're this thing together, everything else can't work.
Exactly. Yeah, because I low-key, like, all those late night talks and stuff that we did, we were just having, like, what's going on, talking about what's going on in each other's lives and stuff. While we were all together in school, like, that really helped, like, my mental and stuff like that. And I think it was a good thing to do. I think that's what we should all do as men, just talk things out. You feel me? But
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing to do. Like, honestly. Okay, go ahead. Go.
no, go ahead, KJ.
Go on, KJ.
No, just playing. No, I was just like, I mean, that's the best thing to do. Like, I don't really like to hold stuff in with anybody. You know, whether it's like my girlfriend, like parents, friends. If it's something on my heart, mind that I'm gonna need to say, I'm gonna say it. Like, that's just what type of person I am. Because I mean, it's not healthy to hold things in like that, especially things you need to get off your chest.
Yeah. A hard time doing that. I remember one time when I got super mad and then I just blasted. You said what?
Yeah. For each other that we can help. You know.
I was about to expose you, J-Rob. I remember this.
Oh, yeah.
Podcast, they try to do it.
Nah, you can say it. We good now.
I get in my feelings up there.
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
But when you're on the news, you feel what I mean?
For real. But
Yeah, I'd agree with KJ. I'd agree with KJ, and I think that speaks to how we're raised as men. Something that Sean had touched on a little bit earlier as well. It's like, as a man, bro, I don't know how many times I was told real men don't cry.
right.
And it's like, yeah, I get that, you know, when you're growing up, your parents probably don't want you, you know, crying about every little thing that happens. But at the same time, it creates this expectation that you're supposed to be 100% in control of your emotions and you never feel anything other than happy. And then the other one is anger. Anger is the only emotion that men are really allowed to have, and it's okay. When you show any type of emotion, it portrays weakness, right? You know, I want to hide the fact that there's a tear rolling down my eye or whatever. Or if I'm upset that, you know, somebody really said something that hurt me, it's like it shows weakness to be able to display that. But you know, as I started learning more about what it means to be vulnerable with the people around you, I started to realize it takes a lot of strength to show that emotion. It takes a lot of strength for me to be able to hit the group chat up and be like, yo, like right now, my mind is not where it needs to be. I'm having a hard time emotionally processing. Just like this last week, thinking about the Jacob Blake incident, like involving police brutality, it broke my heart, bro. And I'm sitting at my desk and I'm crying, and it's like I'm dealing with this trauma. But as a man and as a black man, you're not. You know what I mean? Like everyone expects you to be, you know, strong and expects you to hold all that in. But like, bro, that is not human. You gotta feel other emotions other than anger or happiness, because it's like there's so many different emotions you can feel. Why are we so constricted with just joy and anger? And that's the only thing. Anytime you cry, it's like, oh, you're being X, Y, and Z. It's like, no, I'm being a human.
Right.
That's why you don't see women shoot the schools up.
Right.
And Yes, it's always white people, but you have to also realize it's always men. Women have the same access to guns, but they don't be shooting people up because they're able to express their emotions in a way that women get in fights and stuff like that.
Right.
But they're able to express their emotions, and it leads to them not being as violent of people. Because if you go down to that stuff for long, next thing you know, it's a middle schooler, a high schooler. What was it? Sandy Hook was an elementary school that got shot up, bro. Like, you gotta be. That stuff messes with your brain, and then you really know how to. Then you get psychotic, bro. That's really what happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But moving on to the next topic, we all know schools are reopening back up. What'd you say? Well, we all know schools are reopening back.
Saying, like, moving forward, what more can we? Go ahead, schools reopening.
Nah, go ahead, son. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Schools reopening. How do we feel about it?
Yeah.
By me not being in school, I can care less, honestly. Like, I feel for like the little kids, but like as adults, I feel like we can make better decisions. Like, but for the kids that are being forced to go to school, bro, it's terrible.
I feel bad for the athletes.
Yeah.
Like, if you were a senior in high school, this was your year to get recruited and go to the next level. Yeah, I feel bad for you. But other than that, people crying about, at-home schooling, and I understand, not everybody has the same access to, let's say, internet or good teaching and like that. But, like, you got to do we're in the middle of a pandemic.
For real.
What you got to do to make sure the pandemic ends. We're at what, 180,000 deaths right now. And people, we just saw a high school football game on TV.
Right.
Yeah. And, like, you think a mask going to save you in the stands? It's a reason America really fighting COVID, and COVID is kicking their tail. Whereas you see a country like Australia, they kind of got the wraps over there. They kind of got New Zealand or Germany or whatever. They don't got things fixed because it's still a pandemic going on, but they got more control over the thing because they don't have people who are stubborn as people in America. And people actually want to listen. They talk about my rights.
Yeah, we just don't want to listen at all.
Like JFK said, was it JFK who said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country."
Exactly. KJ, I know you a teacher, so how do you feel about that?
Honestly, like with the schools and everything, so I'll say it like this. So me, I'm at like a elementary school, is pre-K through 6th grade. So I mean, we're doing nice because we're doing virtual, like online, and then we have in school for those students who like chose to come back. Well, the parents said chose to have the kids come back, and then of course you can do it online. So it's been smooth, honestly. Like, I don't see how really we'll shut down or anything unless the state shuts down, or of course like a COVID positive case pops up on campus. But as far as like colleges coming back, I mean, it to me it's based on the university. Like, if you can make it work, then of course make it work. But I just don't think it's safe, because it feels like if you open up back as a college, you're inviting a COVID case, because students are students. Like, I mean, honestly, like, I don't know. I think us will be a little different, but again, us coming in as freshmen, we're probably not going to have a mask on our face 24/7 or whatnot, so it's just, it'll be really hard for us to, really make sure we don't spread anything, or just we're abiding by the right protocols and everything. So it's kind of dangerous for colleges, but I understand, like, college needs to make their money. College needs to continue, like, students need to continue to go to school. But if you can do college and high school virtually, I think you should. But of course, you're not going to get the same lessons. You're not going to get the same attention from students. But I don't know. I feel like it's just at a point we need to make sure we stand safe. So, I mean, COVID can die out. But
for real,
I got the feds watching. I can't really say much about college. So I'll let Jay Willis, Coach Willis.
Yeah, Coach Willie.
Hey, with me personally, I just believe that schools need I just it just takes one student to get bored and hit St. Louis one day and just go there to a hotspot and come back with COVID and spread it to like 3 other students because they have no idea what they have it. So I mean, like, even though some people are taking it serious, there's still a lot of people that are not taking it so serious, and that's like the most dangerous part because some people just think like they're bulletproof, and that's what's wrong with
That's my biggest fear.
Exactly.
My biggest fear is like, look, if I have COVID and I get sick, I can live with that. But let's say I get COVID and I'm asymptomatic and I pass it on to my wife and she gets sick and something happens to her, like, bro, I gotta hunt down whoever gave me COVID and we gotta so I'm scared of passing it on to somebody who's not able to fight it because I feel like I'm healthy enough to where if it was to enter me, I'd be okay. But like, I just don't want to hurt anybody because I'm ignorant and don't want to wear a mask or wash my hands or use hand sanitizer. It's all about like trying to protect people. I mean, that's how I see it.
Yeah. And plus, going back to college, people, they're going to be ignorant and want to host parties and stuff. Like, they do that already, but...
Exactly.
Like...
I can speak on university.
Tell your friends, bro, when you're supposed to be social distancing and you're supposed to be quarantined, stop being around each other.
For
Just
real, bro.
in the same building.
Yeah. I saw that. They...
They're ignorant.
They don't listen.
You're supposed to isolate yourself, bro. Be isolated.
I ain't gonna say nothing.
Yeah, they don't
I
listen.
did my whole senior year online, and COVID was not a thing. So if I can do it, you can do it. Just do it, bro. Like, I want to put some people in the face.
They not up here.
Yeah, too many people don't want to challenge because as soon as you say like you got to do online classes, so I recruit students for the school working in admissions. You don't know how many students I talk to, and they just like, I hate online learning. It's like nobody likes it. I
Exactly.
mean, there's might be people that like it, but they're just doing their part, bro. Like that's all you got to do.
For real. Yeah, because I don't really like it at all. Like, I'm too distracted and everything, but it is...
Wash their hands. You need to watch. People not washing their hands. People not washing their hands. People been not washing their hands.
For real, bro. Even before COVID.
That's a big thing right there. People not. Yeah, even before I see somebody go and doodle in the bathroom and not wash their hands, and I'm like, who raised you?
Right.
That's disgusting.
Especially people at my job, we gotta sanitize everything, and then most people they just walk, like after they finish taking a piss, they just walk right out. I'm like, now you just saw me spray that, and you just want to put your grubby, dirty hands on it and everything else. One guy, he was like, I know you just saw that, right? And I said, yeah, I saw that too. I was like, that's the reason why COVID's coming around right now.
Everybody on the fist bump list until further notice.
For real.
It's fun.
Nah, we on the elbow list. We.
But don't text me.
Shoot. Man.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if there was one person who, truthfully, there's one person that's I'll put my money on that would not catch COVID is KJ.
I can't go.
KJ, he was hooping with a mask on. He was hooping with a mask on.
This dude KJ, since day one, before even like he had to go into a pandemic or quarantine or anything, this dude KJ was wearing gloves, mask, and anything. I would not be surprised if I see him in a little protective suit next too.
For real.
Yeah.
KJ, stay
Bro,
strapped
I
up.
be at work, like, if people walk up to me, I walk away from them. I'm like, yeah, how you doing?
Bro.
Hey.
That's messed up, bro. For real. But nah. And we all got white friends and stuff that are trying to, justify that all lives matter. Like, what are some ways, like, we can hold our peers accountable on making sure that our lives, black lives matter? You feel me?
Hey, I'm gonna set it off right here. Like, I was just talking to, I think, Sean about this. Michael Carey, I'm a name drop because that's my guy. He ain't not gonna trip. But so that's my man's and that's y'all man's too. Unless y'all beefing or something, I don't know about it. But like Carey, he's cool with the black side. He's cool with the white side. But I mean, of course, we're gonna have that conversation with him, and he supports it. Like, I mean, every single time something happens, Kerry will reach out to me. We'll talk about it, But he said, like, what can I do? And I'm like, what my white friends who say they're posting, Black Lives Matter, this, that you want to talk to me, cool, that's cool. But, like, your voice in this situation, to me, is a little bit bigger than mine because of your skin.
Right.
Feel me? So it's like, you need to have those conversations with your friend group. When behind closed doors, y'all saying, like, oh, well, he was doing this, doing that. So, Kerry, if you believe that he shouldn't have been shot, you got to tell your homie, bro, it doesn't matter what color he was or anything. That's a human being. So I mean that's wrong, like straight
that's
up. Because that conversation isn't gonna come with a white man, white boy with us. So yeah,
I say that the key ingredient, bro, is that we gotta stop turning up on people who have different views. Because like I see these videos of, let's say, I recently saw this video. It was in London or whatever, where a dude was being racist, white dude was being racist to a black person, and the black dude slept the ground. And immediately I was like, yeah, that's what it gets. But like when you walk away from that, you just affirmed everything that they think about black people.
Exactly.
Like you just affirmed that, nothing but violence comes up. So we gotta be able to disagree and stop like it is personal, bro. Like when somebody says all lives matter, I take it personally, bro. I got a mental list of like 600 names from Facebook of people that I'm not messing with anymore because they have, you know what I mean? I know that they are on a different wavelength, but when it comes to talking to them, I gotta be respectful, bro. I gotta try and hold the peace because as soon as you start turning up, that's when they're like, see, I told you they're not, you know what I mean? Like they're not even trying to da-da-da. So today, bro, we went to go get some fast food, you know what I mean? It's a cheap day type deal.
Right.
And as I was about to turn on the main road to come back home, and me and Callie saw this Trump setup, like Trump 2020 setup, and I sat there, bro, and I had just given a sermon about how following the gospel will take you into some uncomfortable and unsafe situations. And so I just felt like God telling me, like, go talk to him. Like, no, it ain't. I'm not about to turn up. I'm not about to do anything. But I pulled into the parking lot, got out. Callie was, that's the name of my wife. Callie was like scared. She's like, because obviously with things that have been going on in the news lately, these people they might just be ignorant Republicans, or they might actually be like, hardcore racist. You don't know what you're about to get when you walk into that. Mm-hmm. But I just felt as a black man, because of what I've seen on the media and social media and stuff like that, I had to go and talk to them and be like, yo, listen, even though I disagree 100% with like a lot of the things that this administration goes for, I just want to let you know that I'm praying for your guys' protection, and I love you guys, and that, and like I'm not gonna come and berate you guys because of what you believe. Because when you come and you get angry and they just completely stop listening to whatever it is that you have to say. So I'm hoping that I was able to plant a seed where they're like, oh, okay, maybe, maybe there's a seed like, okay, maybe black people aren't all like this. And just as I was talking to them, and we kind of got deeper than the surface, start talking about where we're from and stuff like that, how I ended up at the university. This car drives by, and they're like, hey, you, and it's like, see, that's like, whether they're saying it to me or to the Trump supporters, it's like you have no idea who this person is, where they come from, right, why they believe what they believe. And you will never learn until somebody makes that first step to be like, you know what, I'm going to stop being so hateful towards you. Right. So I say that one of the biggest steps is that we got to put away our emotional, like, tie to, like when you've been hurt by someone who says all lives matter or whatever, you got to sometimes put that away and be like, you know what, I want to have a civilized conversation with you. And so that means I'm going to fake like I'm your best friend. Right. I'm going to fake like I'm I'm going to pretend that doesn't bother me and try to see where you're coming from, and then maybe we can start having a conversation together that I can help you out. You learn where I'm coming from, and I learn where you're coming from. But this stuff of like, oh, all lives matter, F you, that just separates us even more.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's kind of just like coming off like bouncing off of that too. Just thinking about it too. I feel like now it's got to be more comfortable with being uncomfortable. If that makes any sense to y'all, just being comfortable in uncomfortable.
Yeah, we understand.
Yeah, we gotta be able to talk to them, you know what I'm saying, and like try to educate them as best as possible. At the end of the day, too, a lot of people are still ignorant to the day. They still don't believe. But I think it's just best for us is just to still kind of like get them in there, just try to get them to have that conversation with them, trying to get to the understanding and stuff, and trying to like just pour out everything, you know, because at the end of the day, like you could waste your time trying to tell people what to do because there's people, like I said, people are just ignorant.
Right.
But I mean, you just gotta be. People just gotta be willing to have a conversation as well, too. You know.
Yeah. And there's people from my high school as well. They were just talking out loud, trying to defend the police officers, saying, "Oh, it was just, you know, such and such. He deserved it or whatever. Dealing, you know, he was a drug dealer. He was a sexual offender." I'm like, it doesn't matter. So I can see where your head's at. You feel me? Like, I can see you wanted that person to die, mainly. And people trying to defend, saying, "Oh, it's still wrong," but you know he got what he was coming to him. I'm like, nah, that doesn't justify it about that. You feel me? But that boy Sean finally got his mask on.
I knew he was at the club.
You have to wear the walk out.
That's why he can win. Oh, okay. Will.
But all right, so here's the last question. Stole this question from my little sister, so sorry for that. But it was something I was thinking about, and she asked me was, what is the American dream to you? So I'm gonna ask you guys that. What's the American dream to you guys? In my opinion, there is no American dream.
I want to say that the American dream has never existed, will never exist.
Exactly.
And it's a facade, right? Because this idea that you can pick yourself up by your bootstraps and do this, that, and the other does not account for the injustices that this country was built upon. And so when I think about the American dream, truly the American dream is only true for one person, and that is the white man, because the white man has been the only person historically to have the power to pick themselves up by the bootstraps. So how can a country even start seeking justice if the country has been built on the blood of indigenous Americans and the work was built by African Americans or African slaves that came over? So what is the American dream for the black man? Is it 40 acres and a mule? To this day, nobody has those 40 acres and a mule. So the American dream is a facade that white people put together to make it sound like you can become anything that you want to become, when in reality, that means for the white man, you look at the Declaration, it's liberty and justice for all. It does not mean that. It means liberty and justice for the white man. If you are not a white man, the American dream does not exist to you. It does not count towards you. It is a facade, bro. The American dream has never existed for people that look like me and you, bro.
I ain't got nothing to say after that, because all
For
you
real.
know what the American dream
Hey.
is, and he broke it down.
Hey, that's some fire right there. That's fire. All right.
I know what the Australian dream is, and I want to live. I want to live the Australian dream.
Hey.
I don't have anything.
That's all I can think of.
Yeah, he hit it right on the nose right there.
Look at his.
For real.
That question give me work because I know exactly. We don't want to go down this path, but the way that America was built is straight up on injustice. Bro.
Exactly.
You can't build up and enslave people for 400 years, let them loose, segregate them for a little bit, or you can't enslave people for like 300 some years, and release them, and then not help them do anything. There's no reparations. When Sean just said the Australian dream, the Australians did some messed up stuff to the Aboriginal people. But now, if you are an Aboriginal person, bro, you get priority to get any job in Australia. Like,
right.
If you put that you are Aboriginal on a job application, or you have Aboriginal descendants, they put you first in when you're looking at first. They pay They paying Aboriginals in high school $200 every 2 weeks to go to school because they understand that they messed up the Aboriginals so much that they don't value the school system. That's crazy. They give them housing. They give them all this stuff that they need in order to succeed because they understand Asian people tend to not want the Australian dream. Now you come to America and you start seeing what they did to Native Americans, what they do to Hispanics, and what they do to African Americans, and you want to talk about the American dream. There ain't no American dream for us.
Exactly.
The American dream is for the white man and the white man only. Women could not vote until God knows when after women's suffrage and all that. So you think that it's not all white people. The American dream is for the white man.
Exactly.
Like, but when the white man came out and said, "Oh, he's gay, he want to adopt kids, he want to get married," that's when laws got changed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So,
And after years of slavery, we're still not free to this
Yeah,
day.
man.
you know, exactly. You get assassinated for being too educated these days. So I ain't gonna say too much.
Right. Nah, speak your mind. Speak your mind.
Just know, we know what they're doing. And when they do it, we talk to others. So they go tell them, and then them come back to us, and it's a whole problem.
Exactly.
But I'm tired of them days doing what they want to do, and we don't have the necessary freedom that we need in order to be equal to them. Because we don't want anything from them. We just want to be treated equal.
Right.
Straight up. It's not even like you're asking to get ahead of them. You just say, hey, if I walk into a job interview and I got dreads and dark skin, I want the same equal opportunity as the white dude with a clean shave.
Right.
Like, we just want equality, damn it.
For real, bro. But until then, I don't think.
So
Like,
back to your question, there's no such thing for the black man, the black woman. And also, bro, we need to protect our women, too.
For real.
They always on the front lines of everything, and we just sit back and things happen.
The WNBA, they killing
yeah, the WNBA, they killing the game right now.
Our women,
NBA just now getting woke. NFL not even close to being there, but
Yeah,
the WNBA been doing it for the longest.
but
to every black woman I've heard, you know what I'm saying, if you're watching this, I apologize for my lack of acknowledgement, my trauma that I project upon you. You deserve 100% respect and my full apology and everything that I've done, being the toxic man that I was, and that I'm currently trying not to. So I think I can speak for myself and the other black men in this group when I say those things. That we are sorry because we were only doing what we were taught, and we are the 5 people that are going to break that cycle.
and just like
I know it to be true because we are all practicing those habits right now. So
respect women.
Respect our women.
For real. Because they the ones looking out for us all the time. Even when we down, they always got our backs. But, for real. But yeah, hopefully everybody finishes this year strong, guys. Like, I know it's a pretty messed up year, but hopefully we finish it off on a good note. And hopefully 2021 brings us more blessings.
It's not a hopefully, J-Rod. See, it's not a hopefully, brother. We're going to finish this year strong, brothers.
You right.
Black man. We got to stay
Exactly.
positive, black man.
Exactly. You right. But that's all the time I got for you guys. I appreciate you guys coming together on this Zoom call. Much appreciated.
Yes, sir.
For real.
Yes, sir.